How do we create the perfect Midjourney prompt and get the images in our head onto the screen? That's what I'm hoping to cover today in this video. Let's dive right in. For any Midjourney prompt, we start with \imagine and we type anything we want. So let's do dog eating French fries. Now this creates an image, but let's go over some of the basic settings and parameters in Midjourney to change the outcomes of that image. Let's go over the settings first. So what we'll do is type \settings, click enter, and what this will do is pull up your current settings, which you can adjust for every picture that you make moving forward. The first thing here is the version. I'll throw a screenshot up to show you the differences of each. I don't use any of the second row of settings. You can look them up on the website if you want more information on each, but I'm gonna skip ahead to the quality here, which I keep at base quality. The more quality that you use costs more computing time, so just keep that in mind. If you put it at half the quality, it's not gonna look as nice, but you're gonna use less computing time. Next is the style, which is actually called Stylize if you use it as a parameter. I have this set to medium, but we're gonna talk about this a little bit more in depth in a few minutes here, just because I normally use the Stylize parameter rather than this quick setting that they have here. The last row of settings has public versus stealth mode. Everyone will be using public mode unless you have the most premium of subscriptions. And then as far as fast versus relax, most people are using fast. The fast uses GPU time versus relax that doesn't. But you do have to have one of the subscription packages in order to use the relax mode if you do run out of GPU time. The last setting is remix mode. I recommend everybody turn this one on. What it allows you to do is come up to a generated image, and when you click version of any of these images to create 4 more pictures of a certain image that you like. So for example, I like this third one. If I click variation 3, remix allows me to change the prompt when I am making variations of the image, which is very useful. Great, so now anytime that you type a prompt, it's automatically going to apply these settings onto the end of your prompt. So you can see at the top here, version 5 is what I had selected here, and that's why it's added to the end of the prompt above. Next, let's talk about parameters. Parameters are manually added to the end of any prompt. So if we do imagine, and we'll just type dog this time, you lead any parameter by typing -- at the end of the prompt, and then we're going to use the code for whatever parameter it is that we want to use. The first parameter I want to talk about is aspect ratio. So for aspect ratio, we're going to do --AR, and then what aspect ratio allows you to do is change the aspect ratio of the picture, so the size of the picture. The default aspect ratio for Midjourney is 1:1. I'm gonna throw up the screenshot from their website, which shows exactly what aspect ratios that you can put in here, but you can basically manipulate it however you want. So if you want the picture to be 3:2 instead of 1:1, you would type this at the end of your prompt. All right, now that this picture is done, you can see that it is a little bit wider than the default 1:1 aspect ratio, which is perfect. The next parameter that we want to go over is the --no command. So if we put dog --no, and then whatever we don't want to include in the picture afterwards, it should eliminate that from the picture. So you can see it generated a couple pictures with water up here, maybe just the one. But if we type dog --no water, and then we'll also do that same aspect ratio, it should create an image with a dog with no water. Here's our finished product, and you can see that the pictures are a little bit strange, but there is no water in any of them. The last parameter is stylize. Like we discussed before, it is in the quick settings, but you have more control over how much you want to add if you do it manually at the end of your prompt. So as you can see on your screen here, the default value for stylize is set to 100. You can change it anywhere from 0 to 1000 if you're in version 4 or 5 of Midjourney. And basically what this command does is tell Midjourney how much of its artistic flavor you want added to your image. So with the --s command, let's try a very high stylized value, so let's go with 1,000. And then we'll also try a very low stylized value, so let's go with 25. And we'll see what the difference is. All right, so the top set of images is using 1,000 stylized parameter, and the bottom set is using 25. You can see the difference in how much Midjourney is applying its coloring and artwork to the top images versus the bottom images. So a little bit of a close-up for each. This feature is pretty cool. Knowing all of this, how do we create amazing prompts to get the images that we want? Here's a quick little hack which shows you into the mind of Midjourney and how it thinks about prompts. And what we'll do is use a command called describe. And what describe lets you do is throw an image into Midjourney, and it's going to spit out the prompt that it would use to create this image. I went online, I found an image of horses, and what I'm going to do is use this image, see what Midjourney spits out, and then we'll change it to fit our dog theme and see what we come up with to kind of make it similar to the image that we found online. Based on this image, Midjourney gave us 4 different prompts that it believes would generate a similar image. I think number 2 pretty accurately describes it. So what I'm gonna do is copy and paste this after the imagined prompt. And then since we do know how AR works now, I'm just gonna change this to a 1-to-1 picture. And then also, since we want to stick with the theme of dog, I'll change horse to dog in the prompt. And then we do not want a full in the picture, and we don't need this. So basically we have a dog in a field with the rest of the descriptive terms that Midjourney came up with. What we came up with is all of these amazing images of dogs. Again, if you don't like any of these, like I mentioned previously, you could click on the version here below. So say we like the first one, but we want it to be more cartoonish. We could say a cartoon dog and remix that image. All right, let's try another one. So I want to do a drone shot, and I just watched The Masters. So what we'll do is take an aerial view picture taken by a drone, drag it in here as an example, and then I'm going to put Augusta National in the description instead so that we can get our aerial Masters picture. And of course it came up with some amazing images. Look at the level of detail, the lighting, the clouds. You can tell it kind of took note of that first picture and made it sort of look like a painting. So amazed with how these turned out. Last example I wanted to do is a portrait, and I thought it'd be fun to do a little twist on it like a Viking. So let's see what Midjourney comes up with this image of a Viking. Here are the prompts it came up with. Again, very descriptive, using a couple of artists in a couple of these. What I'm gonna do is copy the second one. I think I like how this one reads the best. And then to put our own spin on it, we'll just do a woman. And we're gonna take out the beard, but we'll do blonde hair instead. I think we can leave the rest the same. So it came up with some pretty amazing pictures again. I especially like this bottom left one. But for the sake of the video, let's imagine that we don't like any of those pictures. This time, let's crank up the stylize, I should say, parameter like we talked about before. So let's do this again. And at the end here, let's add --s and crank this all the way up to 1,000. It was at the default before, which is 100. So this should make a difference in the images that come out. So all we did was tweak the stylize parameter, and the images turned out much better, in my opinion. Just goes to show that tweaking little things within Midjourney can make a big difference with how the images are made. I hope this video inspired you to create some amazing Midjourney prompts. Thank you so much for watching.